Hello boyos, Rich Boy J here back with another video, and this is going to be another episode of Your Questions Answered. If you're not familiar with it, Your Questions Answered is a Q&A series that I do here on this channel, so if you want to see one of your questions answered in one of these videos, leave it in the comment section below. Make sure it is LEGO, Star Wars, or LEGO Star Wars related, and then check back next week to see if you made the cut. Let's jump right into the questions. First question comes from Darth Vader. He says, do you like LEGO Lord of the Rings, and why do you think it was canceled? Also, do you think it will return like LEGO Harry Potter? It seems they still have the license for it. For example, Gandalf's appearance in LEGO Movie 2. So there's a lot to unpack here. I've never seen Lord of the Rings. I have nothing against it. I just haven't seen it. So I don't really have a vested interest in seeing it return in LEGO. But I'm not going to let that kind of dissuade me from understanding that there is clearly a decent sized market for people who still want Lord of the Rings sets. And I really just see it as something where, I mean, I don't think it was like, oh, this isn't doing well, let's cancel it. I think they just plan to have sets come out to kind of correlate with the films. Once the film stops, the sets stopped. And that's the case with most themes. Star Wars is really the outlier in this, and that even during down periods where we're not actively getting new Star Wars material, LEGO still puts out sets. But Star Wars is really just a different beast, especially when it comes to LEGO compared to Lord of the Rings. So I don't think it was just like a specific reason for them saying like, oh, we're not going to make these anymore. I think they just had a plan to have the sets coincide with the movies. Once the movies were done, the sets were done. As for whether or not I think it could come back, kind of like Harry Potter did, it might. I think that Harry Potter might be a special case in that scenario where there's probably a bigger market for LEGO Harry Potter than there is for Lord of the Rings, so they could more so justify bringing back a theme like that. And I guess time will only tell just, you know, how big people are clamoring for a new Lord of the Rings series. But I think in the meantime, you know, if there's no new films coming out, I wouldn't expect to see new Lord of the Rings sets coming out, unfortunately. And to address the final part of your question, you brought up how Gandalf is in LEGO Movie 2. I'm honestly not sure if LEGO has the license for Lord of the Rings at the moment. I would honestly think that that could be a case where LEGO owns the rights to many figures they have made. And I can specifically reference, like, in the film, there's, like, NBA characters, for example, in the LEGO Movie 1. LEGO doesn't have a license with NBA at the moment, but because they did at one point, they are thus still allowed to have those characters that they made in the past in this film. I guess so long as there's no, like, conflict with that and any existing license they have. So I don't know, they might or may not still have a license. I'm honestly not sure, but I would attribute that more so to them just like having the license back in the day and just still being able to use those figures if they choose to. Next question comes from RoboNut03. He says, great video. How do you keep yourself from slacking off on details and mocks as big as yours? That's actually a great question, and something that I think about quite often whenever I'm building. Just trying to not just take the easy way out when building things. Like, if I want to build something, I want to make sure that it gets the attention to detail that it deserves. As someone who builds almost exclusively big, it's something that you really have to hold yourself accountable to. I feel like sometimes it can be easy just to be like, okay, I'll just do this way, the most simple way, because it's a big thing. I just need to get this big thing built quickly. But the thing that's going to separate your mocks, especially if you're building big, from maybe other big mocks, is if you take the liberty to make sure that you're including detail wherever you can. And that's certainly something that I try to do. I guess the best way to frame it is to just look at it as, okay, if you're building something and you just basically take everything you're building as, okay, if this was the only thing I was building for this mock, how would I design this? And then of course you're going to have to make some compromises because certain pieces are going to be expensive, and maybe you can afford to get a few of them for a small mock, but maybe not a ton of them for a large scale mock. But you just got to find that good balance in there, I think. Next question comes from Nehemiah Howard. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. It says, will LEGO ever bring back the old and good guns from the early Clone Wars sets up until the stud shooter came? I mean, the guns never went away. Like, we still get those blasters and sets. If you're specifically talking about with battle packs, I honestly don't see it happening anytime soon. From what I've heard, LEGO's market research just told them that the kids who were buying the battle packs prefer to have the play features with the stud shooters. It's just something we're going to have to deal with, apparently. I feel that the best kind of balance between it is just to include both. I don't see that being a huge issue. Just, you know, give us the stud shooters and give us the blasters. Like, just give everyone the best of both worlds. I think that would be the best compromise. But from what I've seen, I don't think the stud shooters are going anywhere anytime soon, unfortunately. So I would love if LEGO just included both in the set. I feel like that's really the best case scenario. But I don't see a scenario where the stud shooters go away and they just start giving us the standard blasters in battle packs anytime soon, at least. Next question comes from Star Wars Geek 5782. He says, which would you rather buy, Clone Wars Clone Troopers or Rebels Stormtroopers? Oh man, that's a difficult question. So I guess the way I look at it is this. Both of them are equivalent to trash to me. I would never use them in a mock. I have no use for those in a mock. So it really would boil down to which one is cheaper. Honestly, don't know. I'd say maybe the Rebel Stormtroopers are cheaper. They came out more recently. They were in a battle pack with 4 of them, so maybe those are easy to get. So maybe I'd just go with those because I'd effectively be spending less money, but there's no way I would ever buy either of those figures willingly outside of needing them for my minifig wall. Like, I would not use those in a mock. I have no use for those in anything other than my minifig wall. Next question comes from Zach Stiletto. He says, Sojo Boyo J, what's up, my dude? Yo! I have a Q for you to A. Oh my, this is quite the question. Do you think the LEGO Star Wars adult line could be Order 66 sets because of the nature of the events being adult? The thought of Order 66 apparently being too adult compared to all the other things in Star Wars, like Anakin being burned alive, or the many other deaths we see in Star Wars. We see whole planets being blown up. Nah, I don't think so. I'm not sold on the fact that we're going to get an actual Star Wars adult line. I know that's something the leakers have put out there. It's been rumored, but I'll reserve judgment on that until I see what it is. From what honestly, I don't see anything in the Star Wars universe being uniquely adult content. Like, I don't think we're gonna see specific types of sets in the adult line that are covering things that they wouldn't cover in other like facets of Star Wars sets. If anything, I don't know, it could maybe be more in line with like the Lego Forma sets, which would still be weird. Like, how do you incorporate that with Star Wars? But I think it would just be a different styled set. I don't think it would necessarily cover different subject matter in Star Wars. The worst Star Wars has gotten is PG-13, and that's pretty par for the course with any like big blockbuster film nowadays. So I don't see them not being able to cover certain things with normal sets and needing to justify it with like an adult set, especially not with Order 66. Like, for all intents and purposes, like, those scenes are pretty tame. Like, we see people get shot up in Star Wars all the time. I don't think there's anything unique about Order 66 that I would call adult content. Final question today is going to come from Alex McBrick. He says, hey Jay, have you thought about showing non-Star Wars mocks in your mock showcases? I think it would be a great thing to see. Maybe you could separate the series so it doesn't step on the Star Wars mocks. That is actually not a bad idea, and I've kind of floated that around. I feel like my channel is pretty uniquely Star Wars. Like, sometimes I'll talk about other non-Star Wars Lego properties, but it's mostly Star Wars. So I'm not sure how much interest there would be in my channel for like a mock series that was uniquely not Star Wars. I mean, there could be. Like, let me know in the comment section below, guys. What do you think about this idea about me reviewing mocks that maybe aren't necessarily Star Wars? I would still keep the Star Wars mock showcase, but just do another mock showcase. I think if I did do something like that, it would probably be a shorter series. Like, I maybe wouldn't dive too deeply into it. Like, it's already like a decent amount of work for me to do the current mock showcase, because like I really have to analyze the mock. Like, I don't just show you pictures and say, oh, like this is cool, this is cool, this is cool. Like, I'm actually like looking at techniques that the builders are using and either like giving my own input on it, or showing you guys like, oh, like this is a cool thing to do. So I don't know if I would want to put that much effort into a mock series that wasn't Star Wars, because I'm typically just not looking at non-Star Wars mocks that critically. But I don't know, it could be an option. Maybe I could just do a mock showcase where I just show you guys maybe cool non-Star Wars mocks that I've come across. So let me know in the comment section what you guys think about that. But that's going to finish with the video today, guys. I hope you enjoyed checking it out. Like always, if you want to see your questions answered in one of these videos, leave it in the comment section below. Make sure it is LEGO Star Wars or LEGO Star Wars related. And then check back next week to see if you make the cut. Also, if you like what I do, support the video by hitting the like button, support the channel by smashing that subscribe button, and I'll be back again very soon.